for SBENU. He hasn't played all that much, only 5 games, 2-3, 2-1 against Protoss.
Yeah, one of those games again versus that Stats Colossus drop. 6-4 versus Deer, a positive record. Pretty impressive considering that Deer is, you know, a more accomplished player overall.
Yeah. Deer, though, from time to time, as I was saying, you expect him to come in here. He should win, right? He is favored in the sense of the word, but one of the most inconsistent players we have. He's not like some of the other players like Lucero, where he got a lot of wins very fast and then he lost a bunch. He's not very streaky like that. Like, I swear he went like 9-8, and then he was like 10-8, and then he was 10-9, and then 11-9, and 11-10. I feel like he alternates weeks with a win and a loss every single time.
Yeah, I think that's actually like a really good point. I have to say, Deer's one of those players, for me, probably in top 5 players I wish would return to form.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, we're going to be jumping straight into game number 2 here between jjakji and Deer on Coda. Down here in the bottom right, in the pink, from SBENU, the Terran player, it is jjakji.
And up to the top left, in the blue, proxying something here, it's Deer.
Very interesting that he's going to be doing this here.
I think we're just going to see the 1-gate Mothership core sort of pressure, most likely.
Oh, this is actually talking about the points here between these 3 teams.
Yeah, to go to postseason. There's a lot of information to talk about here. We talked about this yesterday. We'll rehash it again next week. We'll be giving you guys all the possibilities.
Yeah. Well, it looks like the proxy is going to be down here right in the natural, and the SCV is coming out for the scout. So this is going to be very nice for jjakji. He's going to get over to the base of Deer very, very fast, and notice that something is not quite right.
Yeah, which almost leads me to believe he was considering doing a CC first here. I'd probably reconsider with this SCV scout.
We'll see what he does.
Or is he going to proxy himself?
Are you serious? Is this about to happen here?
We saw this exact situation happen just a few weeks ago on this exact map.
I think it was Flash. He like lost his Reaper to a surrounded.
Now the Protoss player will have an advantage here in almost every case, and in this case is going to have a massive advantage. This is not even that strange. This is a really common strategy on this map. We've seen it a ton in Pro League already. And what does that tell you? It means we see it even crazier amount on ladder. Now this forces the barracks to be made at home, but it's so late with gas that's totally useless, so he pulled out of gas. And this means that he can actually commit to chrono-boosted Zealots so hard and just probably win the game off of them.
Well, he's going back into gas here. I think he just needs to make Reapers against the Zealots and kite forever.
He's just going, yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do, but he's going to lose so many SCVs protecting that barracks building.
Well, SCV going to come in here and notice something's wrong. He's going to be like, where did that probe come from exactly?
Core's coming down now. And so the follow-up Stalker, the first Stalker is going to be terrifyingly strong. And he could get a second Zealot in there as well. So what he wants to do once that Reaper is out is to just send one Zealot to harass and one Zealot to stay on the Reaper.
Bunch of SCVs being pulled here. The barracks does finish. He's making a Marine.
Look at the positioning here on the Zealots. He has enough gas for a Reaper. Why a Marine?
That's kind of interesting. I guess he wants to build up a Marine count instead of just going for the Reapers. He knows that Stalkers are going to be on the way eventually as well.
That's a good point.
And they're not going to be very good against the Stalker, of course. He's going to get a nice surround here on one Zealot.
Yeah, if he can kill that Marine, that would be so huge, but he can't.
Oh, another surrounds here on the Zealot. He's going to kill both of them.
Yeah, Sir Stalker is on the way, but the bunker will finish. And you know what? The bunker finishes. Look at that. Look at that thing he almost clicked on there. And he did click on. Look at that at the bottom right. That means that he's actually ahead. Because now, I know it's going to be removed in a few months, but now what jjakji could do is actually survive on this economy and outproduce Deer. And he needs to add a second barracks. But Deer's going to lose that CC. He's actually going to go into factory tech here, which is kind of interesting, but he can kill this pylon, which will further affect Deer's production. He can also kill the gateway. And Deer making this Nexus, I feel, is the perfect choice. That's like the one thing he could do, and he wants to probably get robotics and 2 more gates at home.
Yeah, definitely going to need robotics. He's going to want to get some kind of scout on exactly what jjakji is going for here. A lot of different options for the Terran. Could have even just been making a CC into a bunch more barracks here. But I'm not even sure if he got a good look at the gas or how far it was along or how much jjakji is built up. So, like you said, I think robotics is the safe tech, and that's exactly what he does.
Yeah. And he's going to want to get 2 more gates at home. And I'm a bit surprised. He's not producing off of the gate that's to the south, I guess because he knows it's possible that it could just be killed early on. But he's even just going to walk away from it. He is now producing a Starcraft, but he waited and he wanted to spend his money on the Mothership core, build that energy, get a robotics up. And I guess that Stalker that we see being produced right now, probably the last one we're going to see. There's those 2 gates I was talking about. This is the kind of strategy I do all the time, so I'm like very familiar with what you do next.
You know the transitions actually very nicely here.
Yeah. All right, Widowmine in the main, he's almost expecting an Oracle follow-up, which is...
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, could have possibly done damage to jjakji. It definitely would have kept him back on his side of the map as well with his Marines. Force like a big reaction. And then he could eventually go into robotics instead. I think that was also a decent choice, but like we said before, robotics was the safe choice. Island coming down here in kind of a wonky position. Can use that to support his army a bit later on.
Can also counterattack against a drop versus a low ground CC, which isn't what we see here. But if he is expecting one to be lifted from the main soon, that would be a good follow-up. And with 1 Stalker here, as long as you can push it off of high ground, should be fine. He's actually going to get, looks like 1 warping off of that gate, maybe even another one.
He's making a tank here. I guess still a bit scared of Deer. Deer does this from time to time where he all-ins and he follow-up all-ins and he just tries to kill you very fast. jjakji actually does not know that the gateway isn't his natural. And there's now 5 Stalkers out. He just salvaged the bunker at the same time.
Oh my god, and he's got high ground vision now. That's exactly the problem I was talking about earlier. It's like, okay, push him off the ramp, you're fine. Then he doesn't have high ground. It's funny because he played so defensively, and Deer is just playing a macro game, and he's probably still just going to die here.
The tank comes out here, and it immediately goes down. Really, really bad rally there.
Should have absolutely been pulling it back, not putting it into the fight. GG.
Wow.
Deer takes it, putting Samsung now to 1-1 score.
That was a pretty unbelievable game. jjakji was able to hold on, but he was pissing his pants the entire time, and then just I don't know, looked a bit shaken up from the initial play from Deer. Definitely not the cleanest to play.
I can think of probably 5 games where the proxy 1 gate has either won the game straight up or gotten the Protoss into such an advantage that it was a good play, a good counter to what the Terran is doing. I can think of 0 such games of that Reaper strategy doing the same amount of damage. I can think of absolutely 0. And it must work on the ladder sometimes. It's one of those builds where I think it's just not really a good play. You know, it would be great against a Nexus first, but nobody Nexus first anymore, especially not on this map. You know, you might see it on Cactus Valley every now and then, or on Iron Fortress, but not on this map, especially because of prevalency of such builds, which Deer was even checking for because it's so popular, because it's so common. I just don't think it was a good strategy. I think Deer's was much better, even though they were both cheeses or proxies, you know, whatever you want to call it, a bit all-in-ish to a certain extent. I wouldn't even say all-in, it's just like a super aggressive pressure play. And Deer's is just the better one of the 2.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are going to have MMA versus Hurricane coming in here for game number 3, but first, a 3-minute break.